speculation on the origins of COVID and what it means for Dr. Anthony Fauci. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. The National Institutes of Health now acknowledging it did fund experiments at that laboratory in Wuhan, China.
We've been knowing this for over a year and a half.
Research. An official at the agency describing it as a quote-unquote limited experiment. This comes despite the repeated and heated denials from Dr. Fauci. Remember this one?
Knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
If you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those viruses caused it.
It
no
is
one is
molecularly.
those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is that gain-of-function research was going on in that lab and NIH funded it.
You are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individuals. I totally resent that. And if anybody is lying here, Senator,
it's you, Tony.
Let's fact check now. Jonathan Seri, live in Atlanta. Jonathan, the facts.
Hi there, Harris. Well, the National Institutes of Health has ordered one of its grant recipients to present any unpublished data from experiments conducted at a laboratory in Wuhan, China. The organization in question is a U.S. nonprofit called EcoHealth, which went on to fund some research in that lab. In the experiment in question, lab mice modified to mimic the human immune system unexpectedly became sicker when exposed to a certain virus found in bats. The NIH says this was an unexpected result of the research as opposed to something that the researchers set out to
functions.
do. The NIH says it does not rise to their definition of gain-of-function research, where you genetically enhance an organism. But critics on Capitol Hill say top NIH officials, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, are parsing words.
He's been sort of kind of going around the subject, and he never fully explains why it's not gain of function. But I think his explanation is this: oh, it was inadvertent. We didn't know they were going to gain function.
Liar.
Well, that's what a gain of function experiment is.
The NIH issued a statement explaining the naturally occurring bat coronaviruses studied under the NIH grant are genetically far distant from SARS-CoV-2 and could not possibly have caused the COVID-19 pandemic. Any claims to the contrary are demonstrably false. Now, although the research in question is completely unrelated to COVID-19, scientists say they cannot rule out the theory that a lab leak led to the pandemic until they get more cooperation and transparency from the Chinese government. Harris?
Oh, yeah.
Jonathan, I don't know how much transparency we're going to get from a communist nation, but this was a whole lot in this nation and a lot of great information to work with. Thank you very much. Dr. Mark Siegel is a Fox News contributor and professor of medicine at NYU Langone Medical Center. First of all, Dr. Siegel, this reporting is important, as I understand it, because it could mean that the American people were lied to over and over and over about what was really going on inside that lab in China, and maybe others.
Yeah, that's true, Harris.
How about the shot?
I want to give my own take on this. First of all, the NIH's explanation is a little different. It's even worse, actually, in a way.
I think they should ask them, were you also working on a cure while you were making this disease?
Lawrence Tabak, who's the deputy director of the NIH, is saying that gain-of-function research means that it's not that you alter a virus or that a virus is altered or that a mouse gets sicker. It's that a human gets sicker. Well, to me, that's really parsing words, because what looks like what's going on in that lab, Harris, is that they were...
This is where I live at, right around all this crap.
They were tweaking or altering coronaviruses so that they could more easily attach in a mouse that was humanized to cells that would infect the human, So that, to me, by my definition, is gain-of-function research. And, you know, how that occurred, it doesn't mean that it was bioengineered. It could mean that it was serial passage, meaning that the virus goes through a mouse repeatedly. And here's something that your viewers may not know. If you do that enough, through a mouse repeatedly, a virus is going to alter itself. That's what happens. They mutate. Genetic information is exchanged. The more you experiment, the more these things happen on their own. And then they select out the one that is is more likely to infect and kill humans. That's what happens. So all this money being given to EcoHealth Alliance with Peter Daszak and the NIH saying, well, we didn't know what he was supposed to report back to us, and he didn't report back to us, and viruses got altered that became more humanized, and we didn't know. Well, that's not enough of an excuse that you didn't know.
You know what? You just explained so much so simply.
I got a song about
really
Wuhan.
Boils down to the fact that
sounds terrible.
You know, when Dr. Fauci and
facts
others
are real.
at the NIH say that, well, it could have accidentally happened. Well, isn't that the whole purpose of research? You're doing something over and over and over and over until something spontaneously happens, like life.
Yeah, that's so true, Harrison. That's one of the reasons what you just said.
Wuhan Institute of Virology.
On this, and we've called myself and
Also
Dr.
written in Chinese above it.
Moratorium on gain-of-function research, period. Because the whole idea of testing the capabilities of viruses makes us very nervous, especially in light of this huge pandemic we have, and the idea that it might have leaked from a lab. I mean, a time to put the brakes on and reassess
Mother Nature
what
made it,
exact
remember?
research
Trump
should
made
be
it.
allowed. Especially, by the way, in a place like China, where we have absolutely no inside controls or
Fauci's friends did make it.
It's not transparent.
Let's just put it that way. It's a communist nation. So once it gets in the hands of a lab that's run by anybody who's attached to the government,
yeah,
we
the
don't have a
Chinese
friend
are so
to call us
bad.
and tell us what's happening.
I don't know.
I want to get to this. The White House now says it is ready to roll out Pfizer's COVID vaccine for children ages 5 to 11.
Exactly.
Pending authorization now from the FDA.
Oh, really?
Surgeon General Vivek Murthy
What'd y'all study for?
says
3
this
weeks?
should come
That's
as
good
a major
enough.
relief. Let's watch.
I think parents are going to think carefully about this decision to get their children vaccinated.
There you go.
But look, I also think that parents across the country have been waiting for a vaccine for a long time and are eager that this moment may be close.
However, a recent poll finds the majority of parents are concerned about how the vaccine will affect
Harris,
their children.
we'll talk to
and
you
now
later, ma'am.
CDC Director Rochelle Walensky says schools should still enforce mask mandates
hold
even
on.
if kids do get vaxxed. Watch.
As we head into these winter
Oh,
months,
dirty
we know we
masks.
cannot
Making
be
money there, too.
complacent. Schools that have had masks in place were 3.5 times less likely to have school outbreaks requiring school closure. So right now we are going to continue to recommend masks in all schools for all people in those schools.
But not in videos.
The
I'm just kidding.
backlash
Just
is
kidding.
swift and harsh. One user tweeted, "This is sociopathic." Another, "Forced child masking guidance was always irrational, so why would any change in certain..."
We already know our government did tests in the military that masks don't do crap. Unless you're friggin' blocking a little bit of dust. If it ain't sealed, it ain't real. Anywho, there's about a lot to talk about here. And, hold on. Tony Fauci has lied in our faces. He's a killer. He's making money off this. Maybe he's a robot. Who the hell knows? Looks like a real person to me, and looks like what he's done is caused a pandemic around our country, and he knows it. And he's done nothing to help. Now he's pushing a graphene shot. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Everybody I know is getting it, and everybody I know ain't getting it. Some serious stuff. We pray. And row. Let's go.